Hello Zija Nation, Dr. Scott Johnson here for another edition of our Everyday Essentials videos in the part of the Natural Health Revolution series, where we are training you as part of the Zija Product Advisory Council on how to use your amazing Zija products. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that frequently comes up, something that I'm asked very often. Why do we have two frankincense species? So people ask, what's the difference? Can I use them the same? Why do we even have those two? So I wanted to go over a little bit about the two species that we have. And so the first thing is there's lots of frankincense species. There's several species, and each one produces a slightly different resin. We at Améo chose to use two of them. So we have one that is your Boswellia carteri frankincense, and then the other one is your Boswellia freriana. And so they do have some similarities. First of all, they both are sourced from Somalia. That's where the resin is obtained from to distill the essential oil from. One kind of difference, even though they're sourced from the same area, is that the freriana species tends to grow at a higher altitude than the carteri. And so that is something that is a little bit different between the two. In addition, the carteri tends to have a richer aroma. So if you were to smell them and compare them, there is a richer aroma from the carteri species. Some of the bigger differences we get into is when we get into their composition. And so I kind of prepared some composition here to differentiate the two species. When you look at their top three constituents, the freriana, and this is probably really small, but the alpha-thujine is the primary constituent in this chemotype of the freriana. Now you can also get a different chemotype that's rich in alpha-pinene, but the one that we have is rich in alpha-thujine. You'll typically see it about 35 to 55%. If you look at the primary constituent in the carteri essential oil, it's alpha-pinene. And so there's a couple of different chemotypes of carteri essential oil. The one that we have is what I call a balanced chemotype that is kind of has three different constituents in really good amounts. So alpha-pinene is about 30 to 55% of that essential oil. The second components, limonene is your second component in carteri. You'll see it from about 8 to 22%. Paracymene is actually your second component in freriana, so again different, 10 to 22%. And then our third component is alpha-thujine in our carteri species, so that shares commonality there. And then we also have the shared commonality of we have alpha-pinene in about 2 to 15% in our freriana. And so they do have some similar constituents, but they're kind of flip-flopped, where alpha-thujine is up on the top here, alpha-pinene in the bottom, alpha-pinene here, and then alpha-thujine. And one other compound I wanted to mention in the carteri, even though it is only really a minor constituent, sometimes only present in very trace amounts, is the incensol and incensol acetates. So we're going to talk a little bit about how these compounds make these oils work. So if we start with our alpha-pinene, and maybe I'm going to grab a different color marker here. So our alpha-pinene, that's going to support our normal immune system activity. So that's one of the things that alpha-pinene does. It also helps support normal inflammation within the body. And then another third thing is that it will actually support a healthy cell cycle. So that's what our alpha-pinene does. So we can apply that down here too. Our limonene that's in carteri That one, that one also supports a healthy cell cycle. So we'll put the cell cycle there again. Limonene is also known to help with immune function, so support normal immune function. So it's very similar with the alpha-pinene. It actually is a good antioxidant. So that's important to protect us against free radicals. And limonene has also been shown to support healthy and normal responses to glucose and insulin. The alpha-theugene is a little bit of a mystery. There is not a lot of research on alpha-theugene and what it actually does, but some scientists, based on essential oils that are rich in the alpha-theugene constituent, believe that it has antioxidant properties and also that it supports the immune system. So has those two properties. So we can really come up and apply that to the theugene here on the Freriana. So our main difference would be our paracymene and what the paracymene does. So that's one that is good for soothing soreness. So muscular soreness after exercise or physical activity, that's one thing that our paracymene will do. It actually also supports some normal immune system function, and it's also helpful for supporting normal inflammation. And so that's kind of the difference between those. Now this last one, the incensol and incensol acetate, that one has been studied to support a normal inflammatory response. And this is also one that is good for muscular soreness, sore, tired muscles. And here's the thing that scientists really pin these compounds for, is for their mental effects or their emotional effects, that they will promote a positive mindset. And they also help with concentration or focus. So that's kind of how we can differentiate the two. Now, even though they are different constituent-wise, because you can see the primary compounds do share a lot of similarities in what their properties are, they're often used interchangeably. And so you can use them very similarly and for similar uses. Some of the ways that we might use our frankincense is we could take a few drops of the frankincense and put that inside one of our empty veggie caps and consume that. And that, because we have a lot of different compounds that are supporting the immune system and normal inflammatory responses, can help support our immune system and help support that normal inflammatory response. We could also mix it with some of the carrier oil and massage it into our muscles after we've participated in physical activity to be soothing to those muscles. So that's another way that we could use them. If we want to enjoy the antioxidant benefits, again, I'd recommend in a veggie cap. Put that inside your veggie cap. This is also one that you could just add a drop into your super mix. If you have a glass or a stainless steel bottle, add a drop into your super mix and consume to get those antioxidant benefits. And really, frankincense, one of the other things it's used for is to help us to age gracefully. And so it can help to improve the appearance of the skin when it's applied topically. So that's another way that we can use frankincense. So I'd love to hear from you how you use frankincense, and maybe you use the two different species if you use them differently. So tell me in the comments how you're using that frankincense. Hopefully this clears up a little bit of the differences between our two species and how you can use them maybe slightly differently, but much the same. So until next time, I'm Dr. Scott Johnson, and we'll see you on our next Everyday Essentials.